What's going on YouTube? Today we're going to be finishing up the remainder of the wire tuck. It's not much at all. Only thing I got left is the wiper motor and put the fender back on. Then after that I'm going to be doing the fuel line tuck. So mainly this video is going to be all about that fuel line tuck. But before we start, please like and subscribe and hit that notification button. Greatly appreciate it. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. Okay, got the wiper motor wires all done. I even used the universal grommet. I put that in. Let me do a little touch up right there, a little red show. In the future I'll probably put some looming on it and put it in the hole. But for right now, I'm just going to leave it as is. Tuck it in there as far as I can. Next is put the fender on. Lining up perfectly fine. I'm gonna check the hood. This out here. Hood gap. That looks pretty even. And that looks pretty much the same. Good. Good. Oh, chip there. Alright, what I'm going to do to fuel line tuck is basically going to replace my fuel filter. I'm going to have to relocate my gauge, and it should be tucking it closer to the throttle body, I'm hoping. We'll see how it all pans out. Quick show you the kit I got. Alright, this is the kit that I got. There's actually one more here. This is I bought this from FuelTucked.com. They were having a Black Friday sale, and I got this whole kit for around, what was it, 112 bucks. Yeah, there's a lot cheaper ones out there, but just because it's cheap doesn't mean it's any good, so I went with a little bit more expensive kit. It comes with your fuel line. You gotta tell them what fuel rail you're running, and they'll send you an AN fitting to go into your fuel rail, which they sent me. And that fuel line, a 30 micron fuel filter, and an adapter for the fuel line that's coming out of your firewall. So open this up and see the quality of this. Hopefully it's good, and I'll have to order another one. Okay. Looks like they're attached pretty well. AM fittings are not all scratched up or anything. Let's see this filter. A razor blade. There we go. A little easier. This is the 30 micron fuel filter, which they do not specify what direction it needs to go. It looks like it's the same on both sides. Kind of looks a little cheap if you ask me. Let's see how this is. This is the piece for the firewall. Okay, you got your crusher. So, that'll go in there. Alright, so it looks like I am going to have to cut the line with a little pipe cutter that's coming out of the firewall. Then this piece goes on. Then this is like a little crush seal. Put that in on the line, and you put this on, and it basically crushes onto the fuel line and seals it up. Then I believe this will come off the firewall. Looks like then you'll have to have your fuel filter, fuel line to your fuel rail. Alright, looks simple enough. Hopefully this is the right size. We'll see. Alright, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect the fuel line from here. Then I'm going to disconnect the fuel line from the line that's going out of the fuel, the firewall. Now the fuel filter I'm running, I have a gauge mounted on top, and the fuel filter I'm running is you can screw it off the top and you can clean it. I had this fuel filter on this car for probably 8 years. I've never opened it up, so we're gonna do that and see how well it held up. It's a cheap eBay, it says JDM Sport on it, so I'm sure it's a piece of shit. So we're gonna take that all apart and we're gonna open up that fuel filter just to see what the insides look like, and see if we started deteriorating or anything like that. See if we even caught anything. Here's the old fuel filter, fuel line setup. This was going to the firewall. This is going to the fuel rail. I'm going to open up this universal fuel filter that you can clean. I'm going to open it up and see what we got inside. Set that aside. Moment of truth. See if this thing was actually holding up. I think when I ordered this, it was like $8, and they actually sent me 2 instead of just 1. I just ended up selling the other one. Oh wow! It's actually was holding up really well. Not bad, eBay. Not bad. This thing's been in here for a long time. Anything in the bottom? Yeah, there's a little bit of sediment in the bottom, but nothing crazy. All right, keep this. So I know it works good. JDM Sport racing fuel filter. Who would have thought? It works pretty damn good. Turn it back up a little bit. Alright. Let me get back to figuring out how I'm going to hook up this wire tuck, or this fuel line tuck. Alright YouTube, it's been a week later, still working on this fuel line tuck. Unfortunately, the parts that were given to me through that kit, either they seemed really generic and they will not work with my intake manifold. Now, if I was running the stock intake manifold that came with either the LS or B20, it would probably work because the throttle body would be in a different position. So I went out and I bought a bunch of 6AN fittings. Hopefully I can get something to work here. Right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the fitting off of the firewall and or cut the line that's coming through the firewall to get that OE fitting off. I might end up using that. I'm not 100% sure. I've seen people just grind off the end of it and put it back on and re-flare the line and get it to seal on a NPT fitting or AN fitting. I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to pull it off. Yeah, so I'm going to cut that fitting off and I'm going to see what I can make happen. So basically, if you have aftermarket intake manifold and don't have the original motor in your CRX, you just have to be careful when doing a fuel line tuck, because you could run into interference with the line coming out of the firewall. This kit seems like it was more of a universal one that would work for like a 92 to 95, where the fuel lines are coming off of basically the driver's side. They run underneath the car. They don't run in the car. So it would work for that too. But yeah, I'm gonna see what I can make happen. I rerouted the blow-off valve vacuum line. Still gotta put some zip ties on a few other things. I'm gonna give. Alright, so I ended up bending the hard line that's coming out of the firewall using the fitting that they supplied me with the kit that I bought. I ended up using a different fuel filter because the one that they supplied me seemed like it was a generic off-brand, no-name type of thing, and I didn't feel comfortable, so I bought a Russell inline fuel filter. Then there used to be a 90 coming off the hose that they provided me. I ended up trimming the hose a whole lot, almost cutting it in half, and I put a straight piece connecting the hose to the fuel filter and kept the 90 at this side. I rerouted the vacuum for the brake booster and changed out this rad hose. I'm not a big fan of it. It's one that looks like crap right there, and it has a real sharp bend. It might end up overheating because of that bend. I'm going to do a couple heat cycles and see if that bend will come out. It's not completely closed off. It's plenty of room in there for fluid to go through. We'll see. I'm going to let it run and see what the temperature does. I shortened the line for the reservoir. Before it was drooping real far down in the front here and coming close to the wastegate. Shortened that, so got it farther away from the wastegate. Now I am hooking up the intercooler piping back up to the turbo and the other piping. But other than that, it's pretty much all done up here as far as I'm going to be taking it for a couple of years now. Well, until I put the other motor back in, of course. Alright YouTube, that's going to be finishing up the fuel line tuck. I went way more than that in this video. I tucked away a bunch of other things. I just was on a roll, just wanted to get some stuff done. But yeah, it turned out good. I recommend you can use the kit that I got, and there's other companies that sell pretty much the same exact kit. Uh, it works perfectly fine if you have the stock intake manifold or even the stock motor in there. Uh, you won't run into the fact that you're going to be hitting your throttle body or your TPS sensor. So if I would have known it was going to do that, I would have just made my own kit and just sourced out the stuff I needed. But if you like what you're seeing so far, please like. It will really help my channel. Subscribe and hit that notification button. Next video, we're going to be installing an oil pressure gauge. To do that, I'm going to be actually pulling the dash out. You don't necessarily need to, not at all. But I want to route my wires for my wideband and my boost gauge and the oil pressure gauge a certain way. It just will make it easier if I just pull the dash out. Not only that, when it dashes out, I'm going to be installing the AC delete ducting. It will just make things a little easier when I go to do that, and I can tuck the wires on the passenger side from the wire tuck. I can easily tuck them up higher just from having to dash out, and things will just turn out nicer. Yeah, so until next time, have a good day, have a good night, take it easy.